So get this. Today, we're going to deep dive into how tech could actually let you meet your future self. Like, not just imagine, but really interact with, a future you.
Sounds pretty sci-fi, right? But it's closer than you might think. The basic building blocks are already here. We're talking AR, XR, artificial intelligence, all merging with the world of personal growth.
Yeah, it's wild. And the source material for this deep dive is, it's an excerpt from Dr. Gazit's new book. It's coming out soon, Power Up, LVLUP Smart. He paints this picture. It's 2028, you put on these AR glasses, and suddenly, bam, there you are. But it's you, but like 5 years in the future.
Taller, more confident, actually living at the goals you're working towards right now.
Okay, that's cool. But what makes this different from just like visualizing your best self?
The really interesting thing here is this future you, it isn't just some generic ideal. It's actually generated by AI, like using your data, the choices you make, your actual habits, all that. So it's a glimpse into a potential future that's shaped by, the path you're already on.
Okay, now that's getting me hooked. But how realistic is any of this, really?
Well, Gazit's been working on this concept for years. Back in 2017, he and his team won a science fiction prototyping challenge. And their winning entry, get this, it was a haiku.
Hold on, a haiku?
Yeah.
About AI and future selves? Seriously?
Yeah, seriously. It goes like this. Anna spawns several instances of herself. PvP1, please extract highlights from ILRN 2018 Montana. PvP, polymorphic virtual persona avatar control. Updating BCI, KB, BCI, brain computer interaction. KB, PvP, cloud knowledge base. PvP1, in 2018, we went there.
All right, that's pretty wild. And I'll admit, a little over my head, all those acronyms, but I get the gist, even if I don't understand all the tech terms.
Yeah.
The point is, what was pure sci-fi back then is starting to, look more like reality now.
Exactly. And this is where things get even more interesting. You've got two massive markets converging. ARXR is projected to be worth like $865 billion by 2030.
Whoa, that's a lot of zeros.
It is. And at the same time, you've got the global wellness economy. That's expected to be over $9 trillion by 2028.
Okay, those numbers are huge. But what's the connection between futuristic tech and, self-care and all that?
It's not just about entertainment anymore. This tech is becoming a powerful tool for self-improvement, for mental health. Imagine having a personalized AI mentor right there with you, helping you reach your full potential.
So it's like a high-tech self-help guru, but like backed by actual data and science.
In a way, yeah. And there's some serious psychology behind it, too. There's this concept called future self-continuity that researchers have been studying for years. Basically, the idea is the more clearly we can visualize our future selves, the better decisions we make in the present.
That makes sense. If you can really see where your choices are leading you, good or bad, it makes you think twice about, what you're doing right now.
Exactly. And that's where AR and XR come in. It takes that abstract idea of visualizing your future self and makes it real. It gives you a chance to actually interact with that future version of yourself.
So instead of just daydreaming about, being fitter or more successful, you could actually talk to that future you who's already achieved those things, like get advice from them.
Exactly. You could practice making tough decisions, refine your habits, even build mental resilience, all in a safe, simulated environment.
Okay, now I'm starting to see how this could be like a total game changer for personal growth. But is any of this actually being used this way already? Or is it all still, future stuff?
Oh, no, it's already happening. Companies are using this tech to help people right now. Like there's XR Health. They're creating virtual reality therapies for anxiety and PTSD, using immersive experiences to, help people process trauma, develop coping mechanisms.
Wow, that's incredible. Using VR for something that serious. It's amazing to think how this tech can be applied in so many different ways. Are there any other companies doing similar things?
Oh, absolutely. There's SciTech VR. They're developing VR tools for trauma treatment, helping people confront their fears and practice relaxation techniques, but in a safe, controlled setting.
So we're talking real therapy happening in virtual reality. That's just mind-blowing. Any other companies working on stuff like this?
Yeah, there's Limbics. They're using VR to break negative thought patterns, and Behavior, that they're tackling things like addiction and social anxiety through these VR behavioral therapies.
So it seems like virtual reality is really being used to tackle some tough mental health issues. It's so fascinating to see how this tech is being applied in so many different ways. Now, what about companies like Haven? Gazit mentions them in his book talking about spatial computing and mindfulness. What's that all about?
Haven's really interesting. They're blurring those lines between the physical and digital worlds, creating these immersive self-improvement experiences. Think like guided meditations but in a serene virtual landscape, or, interactive exercises that help you be more mindful in your daily life.
So it's kind of like a video game, but for your mind?
Yeah, in a way, but with a much deeper purpose. It's about using technology to help people develop self-awareness, manage their emotions, really improve their mental well-being.
So it's not about escaping reality. It's about using that virtual world to actually improve your real life.
Exactly. And this is really just the beginning of what's possible. Gazit's book also dives into some really amazing examples from his own work, showing how this tech is being used in all sorts of fields.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give me some of the coolest examples.
Well, there's BMW. They have this concept car with color-changing AR. You can actually change the car's interior color on demand just using augmented reality.
Oh, hold on. What? That's just, I can't even picture that.
It's pretty incredible. Then there's Magic Leap. They're developing AR headsets that let teams collaborate remotely, like interact with holographic 3D models in real time.
That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Right. But it's real.
Yeah.
And it has huge potential for fields like design and engineering. Imagine like architects walking through a virtual model of a building before it's even built, or surgeons practicing on a holographic patient.
That's just mind-blowing. What other examples does Gazit give?
He mentions Mojo Vision. They're working on smart contact lenses that overlay data onto your vision in real time. Imagine like turn-by-turn directions appearing right in front of your eyes, or instantly accessing information without even taking out your phone.
Wait, contact lenses with heads-up displays? That's some next-level stuff right there.
It is. And then there's TCL. They're developing AR tech that can translate languages, like in real time. Imagine traveling to a foreign country and understanding everyone you meet just by looking at them through your AR glasses.
Whoa, that would be a total game changer for travel. It sounds like we're on the edge of a world where language barriers are a thing of the past.
Exactly. And even companies like L'Oreal are getting in on this. They have this AI-powered AR beauty tool. It's called Magic. It lets you apply like precise microblading at home, like having your own personal makeup artist guiding your hand.
Okay, now that one I have to see to believe. It seems like there's no limit to what AR can do these days. What about A-Way? I know they're working on something called indoor navigation.
Yeah, they're using AR to create like seamless wayfinding systems for hospitals, airports, malls. Imagine never getting lost in a crowded airport again, or easily navigating a complex hospital building.
That would be a lifesaver, especially in a place like a hospital where every second counts.
Exactly. All these examples, they show just how seamlessly this tech is becoming part of our everyday lives. It's not just about gaming anymore. AR and XR are rapidly becoming these powerful tools that can change the way we live, work, how we interact with the world around us.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the potential of AR and XR to change everything from mental health to like our everyday experiences, and we've seen some really amazing ways it's being used already. But we haven't really talked about AI yet. Like, where did AI fit into all of this?
AI, that's the engine behind this personalized adaptive experience. It's what makes all these immersive interactive applications possible.
Can you give me some specific examples? Like, how is AI actually being used in this space?
Absolutely. Gazit talks about AI-powered avatars that act as, like, virtual coaches. They give guidance based on your individual data and goals. He also talks about emotion-detecting AR glasses that can offer, real-time mental health support. They do that by analyzing your facial expressions and biometrics.
Hold up, emotion-detecting glasses? That sounds straight out of, like, a sci-fi movie.
It does, right. But it's closer than you might think. AI is already being used to develop these sophisticated emotion recognition algorithms. They can actually pick up on subtle changes in our facial expressions and, body language.
So we're talking about glasses that can sense if we're stressed or anxious and then offer coping mechanisms in real time.
Exactly. It's like having a personal therapist available 24/7.
That's both amazing and a little creepy, I gotta say.
I get that. It's definitely important to think about the potential downsides, too. But the possibilities are really intriguing. Gazit also talks about things like AI-powered workspaces. Imagine meetings that feel incredibly real, but everyone's a hologram. Or virtual learning environments that adapt to your individual learning style.
Okay, now that's getting into futuristic territory. Holographic meetings, personalized learning. Sounds like something out of Star Trek.
It does. But these are the kinds of experiences that are becoming possible with this combination of AR, XR, and AI. It's a powerful combination that has the potential to revolutionize, well, pretty much everything, how we live, work, learn.
This is a lot to take in. Before we go any further, maybe we should do a quick recap. We started with Gazit's vision of, actually meeting our future selves in augmented reality.
Right.
Then we looked at all these incredible ways this tech is already being used to transform mental health therapy, enhance our everyday lives, even like revolutionize entire industries like car design and global communication.
And we started to unpack that crucial role AI plays in all this. From powering those personalized virtual assistants to making emotion-sensing glasses a reality, AI is really the engine behind this whole technological revolution. Welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about some of those, ethical concerns, the potential downsides of this tech. It's definitely something to think about, but let's get back to, the more exciting stuff. How can we actually use these technologies to, really level up our lives?
Yeah, I'm ready for some more of that.
This is where Gazit's concept of LVLUP SMART comes in. He's saying we can actually use these tools, AI, AR, all of it, to make ourselves better, like enhance our cognitive abilities, make smarter choices, become, more effective versions of ourselves.
I love that idea. But I got to ask, what does that actually look like in real life?
Okay, so one really powerful example Gazit talks about is this idea of personalized AI mentors. Imagine an AI guide that gets you, really understands your strengths, your weaknesses, helps you set goals, and even makes custom learning plans just for you based on your needs and, what you want to achieve.
So basically like a 247 life coach that always knows exactly what you need to work on and how to motivate you.
Yeah, pretty much. And because it's AI, it's constantly analyzing your progress, giving you feedback, encouragement all along the way.
Yeah.
Making the whole self-improvement thing, way more efficient and honestly more engaging too.
I can definitely see the value in that. It's like having a personal trainer, but for your mind, always pushing you to be your best. What other practical ways can we use this tech to, like LVLUP SMART?
Well, Gazit also talks about these AI-powered decision-making tools. Imagine having this system that analyzes tons of data, sees patterns we might miss, and then gives you these insightful recommendations for, all kinds of stuff like personal finances, even career choices.
That's so interesting. So instead of just going with our gut or, relying on limited info, we could use AI to help us make smarter choices. Decisions that are more likely to get us where we want to be.
Exactly. It's like having a super smart sounding board, helping us see things from different angles, think about the consequences, and ultimately, make choices that lead to good results.
Okay, so we've got AI mentors, these decision-making tools. Pretty impressive. But what about learning new things? Can this tech help us with that too?
Oh, absolutely. Think about immersive learning environments. You could experience historical events firsthand or do experiments in a virtual lab, without any real-world risks.
Wait, so instead of just reading about, I don't know, the Roman Empire, I could actually walk around ancient Rome in VR. Or dissect a frog without, actually having to dissect a frog.
Exactly. And this kind of immersive learning, it's not just for, traditional school subjects. Imagine learning a musical instrument or a new language, but in a virtual environment that's designed to make you learn faster, give you instant feedback.
Wow, that just sounds mind-blowing. This tech could totally revolutionize education as we know it.
It really could.
Yeah.
Make learning more engaging, more efficient, and honestly more accessible for everyone, regardless of their age or background. And it goes beyond formal education, too. These tools, they can be used for professional development, personal growth, even just exploring hobbies, whatever you're into.
So basically, if there's something you want to learn, there's probably going to be an AR/XR app that can help you do it better, faster, more effectively.
That's definitely the direction things are headed. And it's not just about learning specific skills either. Gazit believes these technologies can actually help us develop core cognitive skills. Critical thinking, problem solving, creativity.
Okay, now this is all starting to sound pretty amazing, but is this really going to be possible for everyone, or is this just for, people who can afford the latest gadgets?
That's a really good point, and something we need to think about carefully as this tech becomes, more common. It's crucial that we make these tools accessible for everyone, not just a select few.
I completely agree. It would be such a shame if all this potential for self-improvement, for learning, was limited to, just a privileged few.
Right. But I'm hopeful that as the technology develops, the cost will go down, and we'll see more efforts to make it available to everyone.
Fingers crossed. Because the idea of using this tech to help people really, level up their lives, reach their full potential, That's what makes this so exciting.
It is exciting, but it's also important to remember that tech, at the end of the day, it's just a tool. It's not like a magic solution.
So even with the coolest AR/XR gadget, the most advanced AI, we still have to put in the work.
Exactly. Tech can help us along the way, but it's our own drive, our curiosity, our willingness to learn. That's what really determines if we succeed or not.
So no putting on a pair of AR glasses and suddenly becoming like a genius or a master of everything.
I wish it were that easy. But no, I'm afraid there are no shortcuts when it comes to real learning and growth.
Well, that's a good reminder that even in a world full of amazing tech, the human element is still the most important part.
Couldn't agree more. Tech can boost our abilities, but we're the ones who decide how we use it, what we want to achieve with it.
Well said. But speaking of, augmented reality, I keep thinking about that image of meeting your future self. We talked about it earlier, but can we dive a little deeper into that? What would that actually be like?
Definitely. It's a powerful concept,
Yeah.
and it gets right to the heart of what Gazit's trying to say. Imagine putting on those AR glasses, and suddenly you're face-to-face with yourself, but it's you, years down the road, 5, 10, even 20 years in the future.
Okay, so I'm trying to picture this. Is it like looking in a mirror, but instead of my current self, it's like an older, wiser me looking back?
It's even more than that. This future you, it's not just a picture. It's this dynamic AI-powered simulation. It can interact with you, give you advice, even help you practice making those tough decisions.
So it's like having this personalized mentor who just gets you on a deeper level because it's literally based on your own data, your own potential.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because it comes from your own values, your own aspirations, the advice feels so much more real, so much more impactful.
That's incredible. It changes everything about how we think about self-improvement. It's not just about reading self-help books or going to seminars anymore. It's about using tech to create these super personalized, super immersive growth experiences.
Oh, now it's exciting, right?
Yeah.
And as this tech keeps getting better, that line between the physical world and the digital world, it's going to get blurrier and blurrier, creating all sorts of amazing opportunities for personal and professional growth.
This is seriously blowing my mind. We've talked about AI mentors, decision-making tools, immersive learning, and now this whole idea of meeting your future self in AR. It feels like a whole new way of approaching self-improvement is on the horizon.
I think you're right. We're shifting from this world where self-improvement was often this solo thing to a world where tech can really support us, even accelerate our growth.
Yeah, it's like going from trying to do everything on your own to having this whole team of AI assistants, mentors, even future versions of yourself, all there to guide you and help you along the way.
It's a powerful shift. And it makes us rethink, how we approach learning, setting goals, even our sense of purpose, what we believe we're capable of achieving.
Okay, this is all super exciting, but I gotta admit, it's also a little overwhelming, It's a lot to take in.
I get that. It's definitely a lot to process.
Uh-huh.
But at its core, I think it's a message of hope, of empowerment.
In what way?
Because it tells us we have more control over our futures than we might think. We're not just along for the ride. We can actually shape our own destinies, and tech can be a powerful ally in that process.
Okay, that's a much more optimistic way of looking at it. But with all this talk about the future, it's easy to forget about, right now. What can we actually do today to, start preparing for this amazing future Gazit's describing?
That's the key question. I think the most important thing is cultivating that growth mindset, being open to new ideas, willing to experiment, to learn, and, embracing those challenges that come with growth.
So we should be actively looking for opportunities to learn about this tech and how we can use it in our own lives.
Exactly. And it's not just about technical stuff. It's also about those soft skills that are going to be essential in this new world. Critical thinking, creativity, being able to adapt, emotional intelligence, all that good stuff.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listener with a few key takeaways. First, the future of self-improvement. It's looking pretty incredible thanks to AR, XR, AI, all of it coming together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And second, these technologies, they have the power to change how we learn, how we make decisions, even how we connect with, future versions of ourselves.
And third, even though this tech is incredibly powerful, we have to remember it's still just a tool. We decide how we use it, what kind of future we create with it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And I think it's important to add that we're still really early in this whole tech revolution. There's so much more to come, and it's up to all of us to shape it, make sure it's used for good.
Well said. We've definitely covered a lot of ground today, but there's one more really important part of Gazit's book that I want to dig into before we finish up.
Okay, I'm all ears. What else is on your mind?
Gazit doesn't just talk about the potential of all this tech. He actually gives us a roadmap, like practical steps we can take to start LVLUping smart today. And that's exactly what we'll be diving into after the break. Okay, so we're back and ready to, wrap things up. But before we do, I want to dig into something you mentioned before, that Gazit actually gives us a roadmap for how to, actually use this tech to LVLUP smart, starting right now.
Yeah, he doesn't just, throw all these amazing possibilities at us and then say, figure it out. He gives us some real actionable steps.
Okay, I like that. So what's the first step? Do we all need to, run out and buy AR glasses and find an AI mentor?
Not quite.
Well,
The first step is actually all about mindset. Cultivating that growth mindset, which we talked about earlier. It's about being open to new experiences, seeing challenges as opportunities to learn, and believing that you can always improve.
so before we even touch the tech, we got to get our heads in the right place.
Exactly. Because tech, at the end of the day, it's a tool. It can help us boost our efforts, but it can't do the work for us.
Right. Makes sense. So what comes after mindset? Where do we go from there?
Because it talks about getting clear on your goals and values. What do you actually want to achieve? What kind of person do you want to become? These questions, they're crucial because they're going to guide you as you start, exploring all the different ways tech can support your journey.
So it's about being really intentional about how we use tech, not just jumping on the latest trends because they're cool or whatever.
And then, once you got that clear sense of what you're aiming for, you can start experimenting with different tools and techniques. Gazit recommends starting small, gradually incorporating tech into your routine.
Okay, so give me an example. How would that work in practice?
Sure. Let's say your goal is to, improve your focus, be more productive. Instead of going all in on some, super expensive AR workspace, you could start with a simple mindfulness app, something that uses guided meditations, breathing exercises, a way to train your attention.
So start with the basics, see what works, before diving into the deep end of the tech pool.
Exactly. And as you get more comfortable, more familiar with the tech, then you can start exploring, more advanced stuff. Like those AI-powered productivity tools, the ones that help you manage your time better, prioritize tasks, even block out distractions.
I like that. It's like a step-by-step approach, Start with the fundamentals, level up as you go.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. And remember, it's not about finding, the one perfect app or tool. It's about trying things out, figuring out what works best for you, and being open to adapting as new technologies emerge.
Makes sense. So mindset, goals, then experimenting with different tools. What else does Gazit recommend?
He talks about the importance of community, finding people who are on a similar journey. Could be a group of friends who are also into self-improvement and tech, or maybe an online community where you can connect with, like-minded folks.
Yeah, even in a future where we've got AI mentors and VR experiences and all that, I guess it's still important to have those human connections, right?
Oh, absolutely. We're social beings. We need that support, that sense of belonging. Having a community, people to share your struggles and wins with, it can make a huge difference.
So find your tribe, support each other as you, LVLUP smart together.
Exactly. And finally, Gazit reminds that self-improvement, it's a journey, not a destination. There's no finish line. It's about continuous growth, always evolving, trying to be the best version of yourself, day by day.
So even when we hit a goal, we shouldn't just stop there. It's about setting new goals, taking on new challenges, constantly pushing ourselves to level up throughout our lives.
That's it. And with all this amazing tech we have now, the possibilities for growth, for transformation, they really are endless.
Wow, we've covered so much in this deep dive from
It really has. I've loved exploring all this with you, and I hope our listeners, walking away with as much excitement and, food for thought as I am.
Me too. It's just incredible to think about how tech is changing the game for self-improvement, and it's all happening right now.
It's a truly exciting time to be alive.
And with that, we've reached the end of our deep dive. But as always, the conversation doesn't have to end here. We encourage you to, keep exploring these ideas, try out some of the tools and techniques we've talked about, and connect with others who are also passionate about, leveling up and using tech to make themselves better.
Remember, the future isn't something that just happens to us. We create it through our choices, our actions.